Hey everybody, I'm Vera Stewart and welcome to the VeryVera show. You know, when it gets a little cool in the air, then I'm all about Oktoberfest. And we've got quite a lot to do today on the show. I'm so excited about it. This time of year, it's really fun to think about dishes that have that German flair to them and things that you really think about this time of year. So today we're going to be doing a dark beer and black pepper crusted short rib. I'm going to do it in a Dutch oven, and then I'm doing a German potato salad, and then finally a black forest pound cake. So what I've got going here is the short ribs that I have just put in a little bit of olive oil. I've dredged them in flour. I put salt and pepper and got them nice and seasoned before they went in the pan. And now I'm just cooking them until they're nice and seared on the side. You know, Oktoberfest is really celebrated in the state of Georgia, in Helen, Georgia. As a matter of fact, over thousands of people go every year to Helen for this celebration that actually lasts longer than any other celebration in the United States. So if you're planning that, you've got quite a lot to look forward to. But you know, you can do your own Oktoberfest with these recipes that we're making today. So while these are finishing cooking, let's look at the vessel that we're going to use to do this today. A nice Dutch oven. This is actually Le Creuset. Works really well. You could actually, for saving purposes, you could do what I'm doing over here in this pan directly in that one. But these are nice and seared, and we're going to build a bed for these to rest on in the Dutch oven. So I've just cut up some Vidalia onion. We're just going to place that in the pan. And then now that these are seared off, I'm just going to start stacking them in. And you know, short ribs, you want to, these are boneless, but you want to select one that have a little bit of fat content just because that adds to the flavor, and it also gives you a little bit more rendering in the bottom, which will create a really nice sauce and gravy for this. All right, so I've got my short ribs in there, and now I'm going to add some crushed garlic. And just a little trick on crushing the garlic: if you've got a wide knife, you're just going to press down, and this opens up the garlic so it'll be really nice and aromatic in this dish. And I'm just going to lay some of those on top of each one. You know, the nicest thing about a dish like this in the house is that the whole house is going to smell fantastic. Okay, I'm going to put a little bit of butter right in the center. And then if you're growing rosemary in your yard, that's awesome to go in this dish. You're going to put that there. And this is when, you know, just the preparation of it and the way that it looks in the pan is almost the presentation in yourself. You can go directly to the table with this dish. Now, I've cooked down a sauce here that has gotten nice and thick. And again, the recipes are always available on our website at VeryVera.com. So I'm going to take this and just go all the way around in the dish with that. And then this is where the beer comes in. We're going to be talking a little bit about this on Vera's Corner today too. But I'm going to use just about a half a cup of this Guinness beer in this dish. And then we're going to cover this with a lid, and it's going to go into a 350-degree oven for probably about 2.5 hours. And in the meantime, you can get started on the dish that we're going to get started on next, which is a German potato salad. So come back with us in just a few minutes, and we're going to get started on that. Welcome back, everybody, and if you're just joining me, I've got short ribs in the oven. They just are smelling fantastic. And you know, if you've got a meat and potato lover in the house, grab them real quick because you don't want to miss the menu that I'm doing today. We're doing short ribs, I'm doing a German potato salad, and then I'm finalizing it with a black forest pound cake. So newlyweds, this is the way to the man's heart, is this meat and potatoes meal. So I went ahead and got my bacon rendered for this German potato salad, and rendering, of course, means that you're taking hard fat and cooking it down to a liquid state. And for those of you like me that always have a little bit of bacon drippings in the refrigerator, it's just a great ingredient to bring out that flavor in anything. So I've left about 3 tablespoons of the bacon drippings or bacon fat in the pan, and now I'm going to put my diced onions in there to start sauteing. And again, this is a German potato salad, and part of the reason that it is so good is because of this warm dressing that goes with it. So we're going to let those cook for just a minute, and I'm going to get started on the dressing. So the dressing is a combination of kosher salt, black pepper, a little bit of sugar, and some Dijon mustard, and then some white vinegar. All right, so I'm going to whisk that up. And this is one of those things that you're going to get done, you can do in stages. As a matter of fact, and that's just whisking it really nice. As a matter of fact, I cooked these potatoes ahead, and to me the scariest thing about this recipe is overcooking the potatoes, and you just don't want them to be so soft that they're going to tear up, but you don't want them to be crunchy either. So cooking these ahead can also help you when you're putting things together at the last minute. So I'm cutting these into bite-sized pieces, and I'm using a red new potato for this. And I've got most of these already done. Let's stir these onions up a little bit. And leave those good drippings in there too in the pan, just so that will add to it. All right, so I'm going to put all my cut up potatoes now, and this recipe will probably serve about 8 to 10 people. All right, so I've got that. And then the bacon, I love to cook the bacon and then use my scissors, my kitchen shears, to cut it up because it can go really fast. And you know, I always say I love to bring the young person in the kitchen with me when I'm doing this sort of thing. And this is something that they can learn to do because just using the scissors is safe to do. So just cut that up. And this is that great market bacon from the fresh market. Highly recommend it. All right, I'll throw the rest of that in. And now my onions are right ready to go. So let's get them poured all over it. You can't beat these ingredients, you guys. I love this dish. All right, and then the dressing is gonna go right on top of it. And then finally, a little bit of fresh parsley and some cut up scallions. Now, at this point, you can just let it sit there and mix it up right before you get ready to serve it, or go ahead and mix it up now, and then you can zap it in the microwave right before you serve it. So come back with me after the break. We're gonna get started on that Black Forest pound cake with a yummy cherry sauce.
Vera's Corner is brought to you by Georgia Bank and Trust and Southern Bank and Trust.
Today we're going to go over 5 different kinds of beer that will be a great addition to some of your favorite recipes. A wheat beer is great for salads and fish. Look for white, which will indicate that it's a wheat beer. A medium-bodied beer like Sam Adams Lager is a great addition in barbecue sauce. A Guinness Stout beer is creamy and will be wonderful in a stew or even a chocolate cake. A Bock beer has a strong flavor and can be used with pork and root vegetables. And then reach for an Oktoberfest Bock for a festive touch. Finally, an Indian Pale Ale, usually called an IPA, is not a good beer to cook with because it's too bitter. Well, Welcome back, everybody. And the potato salad is now just all of those flavors are going through. I mean, you've got the wonderful red potato, we've got vinegar, bacon, chives, parsley, Dijon mustard. Oh, it's just going to be fantastic. So it's soaking all of that together. We're letting it just sit at room temperature. I may zap it for just a little bit because I love warm potato salad, but that's all good to go. And now we're starting on dessert. And for those of you that remember, cakes were my thing for 32 years, and I was known as the cake lady. So when I come across a recipe for a cake that I think is unusual and great, I'm always excited to kind of experiment with it. So this is a Black Forest pound cake with a cherry sauce that goes on top. But you don't bake it in a butt pan. You bake it in a tall, round 10-inch pan with a 3-inch side. So it almost looks like a cheesecake when you invert it. And then you've got a great flat surface to do this wonderful topping. So what I've done to get ready, and remember, you always want to make sure that your ingredients are at room temperature. So I went ahead and creamed the butter and the sugar together, and it's a combination of granulated sugar and brown sugar. So that's creamed for about 10 minutes. And now you see that it's nice and creamy. I've scraped down my sides. And now it's time to start adding some of the wet ingredients. Again, room temperature eggs. I love to have them already cracked and in a measuring cup, and then you can just pour them one at a time, and you're not having to stop and deal with the egg yolks. So that's another easy method in terms of getting all of this incorporated. Have I bragged yet about my new mixing bowl? I just love it. I thought when I saw this glass bowl, I thought that would be great for the show. And it's just a large, much larger bowl too, so I found that I can double recipes with no problem. So if you've not added that to your standby KitchenAid mixer, you need to pick one of those up. All right, so I've got 6 eggs that are being incorporated now into this mixture. And my oven is preheating at 325. Now my dry ingredients, I want to mix those together before I start the process. So I've got flour. I'm going to add to that baking soda and salt, and then my Hershey's cocoa. So if you're a chocolate lover, this is a really deep, dark chocolate. So now I'm going to start adding my dry ingredients and alternating with sour cream and vanilla. So let me turn this down just a little bit. And this, because it's a pound cake, is not a real fluffy batter. It's a dense batter. It's mixing up really well. And this, you know, different from some of the VeryVera pound cake recipes, your liquid ingredient is sour cream. I'll go ahead and add my vanilla to that and keep alternating the dry ingredients. And you can see I'm using a 1/3 cup measuring cup as kind of my tool there to get this added in. And you see how these deep sides just keep from popping up in your face, which I'm noted to make a mess when I'm doing this as well. I will have to admit I had to go buy the pan to make this cake because I didn't have one. I didn't have a 10-inch, 3-inch cake pan available to use. So let me get this last and I'll show you how to get that ready to go in the oven. All right, so this is my brand new pan, and of course when you're using a brand new pan, you really want to be generous in how you get it prepared. So I love to use Pam. It's like a coated spray. So I'm get that good and coated. And if for some reason you don't feel like you got it evenly distributed, just take a paper towel. So that's going to be ready to go. I'm going to keep adding these ingredients while we're away on the break, but let me also show you the sauce that's going to go on top with the big cherries. So come back with me after the break. I'll be getting this cake in the oven while we're gone. I'm very excited about my Oktoberfest dinner, and I hope you are too, and I certainly hope you're going to try some of these recipes, always available at VeryVera.com. So let's start from the beginning. We've got the short ribs that we did ahead, and you know, the container that I cooked them in, the Le Creuset Dutch oven, can be your serving platter. I mean, look how fantastic that looks with the meat that's all falling apart and all the onions and the fresh rosemary. So I've gone ahead and plated it. I put the onions on top because when you present, you want to present it your best. And so it just really makes for a great presentation, and the little pieces of rosemary just add to that. So that looks really good. And then, you know, remember that you can put the sauce on the side as like a gravy. You might even want to do even mashed potatoes with this instead of the potato salad. But remember that these drippings are fantastic when you get ready to start doing those frozen vegetable soups that you want to keep stocked up in your freezer. So don't let that go to waste. All right, now the German potato salad. Oh, it's so colorful with the red skin potatoes, and it has been sitting now for about, you know, several minutes. So you want to do like 20 or 30 minutes on that just to get those seasoning through. And you know what? I always put it in a microwavable dish because I love to just zap it real quick right before I serve it to get it nice and warm again. But remember fresh parsley as a garnish for your actual buffet piece, which will look really good. And then I'm going to just go ahead and put just a little bit on the plate. And as far as my presentation here, remember you always want to have your entree at 4 o'clock when you put your place setting down, when you serve your dinner plate. So it's absolutely in the right place. The star of the show, the Black Forest pound cake, absolutely fantastic. This new pan worked out really great. Didn't stick to the pan at all, so I must have sprayed it really well. The cherry sauce, let me tell you about that. So I started with frozen cherries, had that in a saucepan, added the sugar, water, and let that just cook down for about 12 to 15 minutes. Cooked down until it got nice and thick. Also had cornstarch in there to kind of add to that thickness. And now I'm just putting it on the top of the cake, but let me tell you, when it comes off from cooking, you're going to add vanilla extract and brandy. Oh my goodness. So, you know, this just says Oktoberfest to me. Just fantastic. So I got kind of sneaky and I went ahead and took a slab of that out on the plate. So while I'm garnishing with a little bit of Hershey's semi-sweet chocolate, just to add just a little bit more character, I'm going to go ahead over here to the plate and do the exact same thing. And I took some of that sauce and just made some little dots. And then I've got whipped cream. And you don't want to do it really stiff here because you want that light, really fluffy whipped cream. So presentation-wise, I think this is spectacular. And here's one of my collections of my cake stands. This is my Beehive cake stand, which I love. All right, so everything looks great. Again, on your place setting, you want to make sure that your plate is about 1 inch away from the edge of your placemat, all your silverware lined up, the blade of the knife facing the plate, the spoon next to that, and then your salad fork goes ahead of your dinner fork because you're going to use that first for your salad. And then your dessert is going to go on the left-hand side where the forks are. And in proper presentation, you can also put the fork at the top of the plate. I've got my beer stein ready for some of that great cold beer that we're going to serve with this, and I want to remind you that the Fresh Market has a fantastic selection of domestics and imported beers, and you can build your own six-pack, which is also a really great plus if you want to try some things for cooking or whatever else. All right, so let me give you some really great news. I'm so excited. Sub-Zero Wolf has taken VeryVera and adopted us, and we are so excited that over the next couple of weeks we're going to be completely renovating our kitchen on the set. You are going to be so amazed at these appliances. And I just actually came back from Charlotte, where I did a couple of days of testing and learning all about the equipment, and honestly it is just making me want to cook more than ever now. So I can't wait to share that with you over the next couple of weeks, and we'll be unveiling that really soon. So keep up with that. And again, remember, no matter what you do, do it in good taste, and I want you to come back and join me again next week for another episode of the VeryVera Show. In the meantime, I might have to take a really quick bite of this delicious new pound cake recipe for me. So come back and join me again next week.